In this activity, we are going to start working as administrators in our Hyper-V environment. No longer will we be simply the consumers of the environment. We will now be the administrators and managers of these Hyper-V systems. So first thing I need to do is I have gone ahead and I've logged in and I've logged into the environment to make sure I have server Hyper-V available to me. Because this is the first activity in all of this chapter, I want to make sure and go to each virtual machine, right click and apply the initial config. So do that for DC1, apply, DM1, apply, and so on. I've gone ahead and done that. The next thing I want to do is I want to tweak server Hyper-V a little bit to be better performant in our labs. What I'm going to do is I have Hyper-V selected right now. I'm going to right click and go to settings. Under settings, I want to go to memory, and for RAM, I'm going to say for the startup RAM 8192. That's 8 gigs of RAM. For minimum RAM, 8192, and then for maximum, I'm going to say 16384. So 16 gigs of maximum RAM, 8 gigs minimum. Under processors, I'm going to click that, and I'm going to change from 4 to 8. And then OK. Once that's done, let's go ahead and start up server Hyper-V and then connect to it. That will take a moment to get started. So I will be right back. Server Hyper-V has gone ahead and started up, and I've logged in as the administrator on this computer. Before we jump into PowerShell, I do want to, from Server Manager, go to Tools and Hyper-V Manager. And we will see that there are already 2 virtual machines configured on the system. There we go. Install core and server VM1, both with checkpoints as well. At this point, let's go ahead and open up PowerShell, and we will create a new VM using the PowerShell. So I'm going to run the command new-vm. We will call this VM test 1, and then memory startup bytes. Memory startup bytes. We will specifically say 1 gigabyte. We're not actually going to be turning this on. We just need something in there. Dash new VHD path. C:\vms backslash VM test 1 backslash VM test 1.vhdx dash new VHD size in bytes, and we want 40 GB, 40 gigabytes. So this will create a new virtual machine. It will create a new hard drive, as well as configure it. If we look into Hyper-V Manager, it will also configure it into Hyper-V Manager so we can then manage it. The one thing that didn't happen there is we did not configure a network adapter. So we need to then run connect dash network adapter. Wait for tab complete. Maybe not. Connect dash network adapter. VM test 1 dash name network adapter dash switch name private net, and enter. And that is not liking me. Let's see, connect. 1 second. So there is a typo in step number 4. It is not connect network adapter as I had typed up here. It is actually connect VM network adapter. Space VM test 1. So the virtual machine we're connecting this to dash name network adapter. By default, the system calls the first adapter network adapter dash switch name private net. And there is a virtual network on this computer called PrivateNet, and we can actually look here on the right-hand side under Virtual Switch Manager, and there is a network right there called PrivateNet. And so we just connected VM Test 1 onto that network. Lastly, we need to mount a CD for this machine to boot from. And again, there is a slight typo in the instructions. So we want set dash VM DVD drive for VM Test 1, and then dash path. The path we want this to connect to is C colon backslash ISOs backslash W2K2022.ISO as opposed to 2016. And press enter. And at this point, our machine is ready to run. Get-VM VM test 1 will give me a full view of what the hard drive or what the system looks like. We can see the state there is off and it is operating normally. If I up arrow, pipe that through FL to get a format of a list, format list star, we will see that there is tons of information here with regards to the configuration, such as the network adapter name is network adapter. We can see the path, the current size of the files, memory, startup size, and hard drive paths, and so on. We can extend this just a little bit. If I clear my screen, we can do get-vm where-object and then curly braces, $_state-eq off. And if I just run that as is, we will get our 3 virtual machines that are currently listed as off. If I up arrow and then do another pipe symbol, we will send the output of that command into the start VM command. And if we look back to Hyper-V, we will see all 3 virtual machines just turned on. Awesome. Well, if we could do that to start all the current virtual machines that are off, we can do the same thing. Get-vm where-object curly brace $_state -eq on, running, and then stop VM. And we need to include a -force command because it will forcibly shut down the machine as opposed to attempt to cleanly or OS friendly shut down the machine. And with that being said, the virtual machines will slowly start to turn off. Lastly, now that we've created a virtual machine, powered on a virtual machine, powered off a virtual machine, the last thing we need to do with regards to our VM lifecycle is to remove the virtual machine. In this case, not removed, remove -VM. VM. The VM we're going to remove is VM test 1. And we are going to force the removal of the VM. When we look into Hyper-V, yep, the virtual machine is now gone. However, the one thing that did not remove was the hard disk. And so if we can actually look on the File Explorer, File Explorer is a little slow. There we go. If we look under File Explorer on the C drive, under VMs, we will still see our server VM right there. VM test and VM test right there. And it is, in fact, taking up space. So what we want to do is, again, from the command line or from PowerShell, del C:\VMs, VMs \VM test 1 \VM test 1.vhdx, and that will delete the virtual hard disk. And that is the end of this activity.